Siobhan, and today I basically started using recipes because I just kind of wanted, you feel like something is missing. You feel like you're not walking in your purpose. Hello, welcome to Happy Life, Better Life. Today's video is about starting over in your 40s and 50s, and something I want you to be aware of. Beware of roots of bitterness. Roots of bitterness. A lot of times when we've been in relationships, we've experienced a bunch of different things. And sometimes when a marriage ends and we have gone through divorce, sometimes these things are amiable, other times they are not. Other times they are reckless, full of anger and a lot of hurt and things that have been said and done that we can't take back and we can't change. And so something that we have to be aware of is roots of bitterness. Roots of bitterness. This is the way I like to describe roots of bitterness. A root of bitterness is like, well, think of flowers. When you think of flowers and think of, if you've ever planted flowers in like a pot or something, usually the roots are kind of stringy. They can be kind of fragile. Some of them are a little thicker, but most of the time they're kind of fragile when it comes to certain types of flowers and things. But if you've ever seen the root of a weed, usually the root of weeds are very strong and thick, and basically they choke out the actual roots of the flowers. And this is why they are very detrimental to grass and to flowers and other things that may be growing, because weeds have very strong roots. And they can look kind of monstrous looking. If you've ever, been someone who's, planted in a garden, you'll know there's a difference. So to me, when we allow roots of bitterness to get in our heart, they're like these roots that choke out everything else that's good. And they feed off of the good. But the bad things continue to grow. The bad things continue to grow. Normally when they're trying to get rid of the roots of weeds and stuff, they can use chemicals. They can use certain types of, gardening tools to try to cut through them and dig them out. And if you don't really get them out at the root, if you don't really go deep and dig them out, they can start growing again. That's how bitterness is. When it's inside of us, when it's inside of our heart, when it's inside, it'll start growing into our mind and our thoughts. It'll start taking over. You do not want to allow yourself to become bitter, because it will hurt you way more than it hurts the other person. Listen, I've known people who've gotten sick from being bitter, from being angry all the time, for complaining all the time. For one thing, nobody's going to want to be around that type of person. The second thing is, when a person is bitter, they can't receive. When a person is bitter, they can't give or receive. So say if someone new tries to come into your life, say if new things are happening that could actually make you happy, you're not in a place to receive it, because you've got all that bitterness choking out all the good. And you will look at every person and everything through the eyes of your hurt. So you don't want to become bitter. I know people who developed cancer and ulcers and all kinds of things in their body physically because of emotional pain and hurt that they refuse to let go of. So this is my simple warning. Don't be a person who allows bitterness to take root in you. And how do you get rid of bitterness? Number one, you forgive. And I know for some people that's really hard. Forgive. Forgive. And you got to forgive yourself. I'm going to tell you, that's something that I struggled with for me. I felt like I fell, basically, because my marriage didn't last. My marriage was supposed to, be until death did we part. And even though there were certain things that I knew I didn't deserve, and good things that I knew I did deserve to have in my life, I still felt like, man, I felt, like, why couldn't I save this? Why couldn't I, make this work? I had to forgive me, and you have to forgive you. And you definitely want to forgive that other person. And think of it this way. I've talked about this so many times before, but imagine that there's a cell and you have that person that hurt you, could be your spouse, and they're locked in this cell. And you're standing over the cell, making sure that they stay in that cell. But meanwhile, seasons are changing, years are going by, and you're just standing there making sure that they stay locked up. You haven't lived your life. You've missed out on so many things because your focus was making sure that they paid. What I'm saying to you is open that door, walk away, and go on and live your life. Don't allow yourself to be held captive. Don't allow yourself to be in hurt and pain. And don't hold on to unforgiveness and hatred, because it's going to hurt you way more than it hurts them. So I just want to encourage you with that today. And be aware. Be aware of roots of bitterness. And be aware of what you speak out of your mouths. Because as women, we can say a lot of things, but sometimes your mouth will take you further than you intended to go and keep you longer than you intended to stay. So, receive that today. I hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you next time. Thank you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Have a great day. Bye-bye.